So we started out with the same orientation process, the briefers and interviews and getting to know each other, and getting to know our fellow fellows. And then one morning we were right here at the National Academy of Medicine, then the IOM building, sitting outside, talking about health policy and really coverage issues. I remember distinctly, we were all outside. It was a beautiful day. It was in September. It was September 11th. And suddenly we heard something. We heard a kind of a muffled sound. There was just a lot of sirens that went off all of a sudden. At one moment, we heard a jet overhead go supersonic. We heard a boom overhead, supersonic boom. I'm former military, and I thought that's really unusual for the National Capital Area to have that, very unusual. And then the State Department next door, just everybody poured out of it. Then it became really clear something was going on. One of my classmates had a early BlackBerry. He got a message on this BlackBerry. Howie Foreman got a message on this BlackBerry describing the attack, and that was the attack on the Pentagon. But it certainly, from that moment forward, our orientation process and our fellowship became quite different, I think, than prior classes. Washington, D.C. really shut down at that point. I mean, nobody flew. I walked home that day. I had an apartment back behind the Supreme Court building, so I walked home. It's the only way to get there. Everybody else was going the other direction, so town emptied out. Suddenly there was dialogues with the executive branch and others on where fellows could maybe serve in, other capacities. Because if you remember, just right afterwards, or not long afterwards, there was an anthrax attack, which occurred in the Senate office building. So suddenly, at least, from ultimately my senator, they had to abandon those offices, and they had to set up with temporary quarters. And so there's this very different footing. Quickly, there were military operations that were launched overseas. I mean, the whole town kind of shifted into more of a reactive focus than we had before. So again, it wasn't a traditional year at all. And that, we talked about traditional things. We talked about coverage issues, cost issues. At the same time, we're talking about biodefense, biosurveillance. I'm in briefings where people are talking about, what drives populations and what drives individuals to take, horrific actions has happened, on that day. We learned different things that year. We learned how to be flexible in times of a true national crisis, which that was. This kind of partnership that we had, on the Hill. So I cannot speak for what was like before or after, but during our period, it was, we got to get stuff done. We have to do this. We have to pass legislation, to strengthen the CDC, or I keep saying biosurveillance, but yes, this kind of legislation has to happen.